Hey, everybody. Welcome to Norm and Katie's Legal Fight Club. We all know the first rule of Fight Club, which is what gets talked about at Fight Club, stays at Fight Club. But Katie, what's the first rule of Legal Fight Club?
Everything that we learn in Legal Fight Club is shared publicly, especially with those of you that are supporting us through the Contrarian and at Democracy Defenders Fund. That's why Legal Fight Club's so important. We're not gatekeeping knowledge, people. We are making sure that you are empowered with as much as we can share. Norm, what are we going to talk about today? I know what I want to talk about because I'm particularly angry about what's happening with the SNAP benefits.
Well, Katie, whatever we had scheduled, we should talk about what you want to talk about. SNAP. Explain to the people what it is, what's happening, and why any American, not just my friend Katie Phang, should be upset about it.
So, Norm, let's start with what it's not. It's not just money for poor people. It's not just money for, per Mike Davis's words, he wants to say that it's people that are lazy or people that are unemployed or people that need to get off their, quote, ghetto asses. Not my words, but his folks. That's not what it's for. It's a program that has been providing benefits to more than 42 million Americans, Norm. And those people, they are able to supplement to make sure that they are not at or below the federal poverty line so that they're able to put food on their tables. In fact, 86% of all SNAP benefits are going to households that have children, that have the elderly, that have people with disabilities. Frankly, Norm, there are people that are working right now at jobs where their wages are so low because there's no respect, perhaps, for a working wage anymore in America, that they require SNAP benefits to be able to supplement what they're making. People who perhaps have to keep a seasonal job or they lose a job because they have to care for a loved one who has fallen ill and they don't have paid sick leave. There are so many people that we are describing, Norm, which is why SNAP benefits are not only important, but they are actually supposed to be provided. And so, Norm, at this time, we're seeing the Trump administration weaponizing food, weaponizing hunger in this, I guess, really cruel attempt
And
to think that they're owning the libs.
yeah, and I want to emphasize that SNAP do the words stand for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Yes.
So let me just break it down for you folks, like we do here on Legal Fight Club. This is food aid that all Americans, Katie, I think the number is 40 million Americans
Almost
rely on this
42
food
million,
aid.
Norm. Yeah.
42 million, 42 million Americans. So about 15% roughly of our fellow parents and kids and seniors, people you know, people in blue places, but people in red places also will not eat if Donald Trump and his followers and the people in Congress continue to refuse to turn on these funds. Now, Katie, that's what the program is. How is Donald Trump starving folks out now? Do you want to explain what's going on? Then maybe I'll tell our friends what the litigating community is doing about it. And that includes everybody who's watching Contrarians, because we at the Democracy Defenders Fund are working to end this national starvation program. I've never seen anything like it. What are they doing, Katie, to block people from the food?
Well, Norm, the cruelty is pretty on brand for this administration. And just to kind of underscore how important this is, there's this misconception that there are thousands of dollars given to just lazy people that are sitting there not doing anything. But the reality is this: it's 1 in 8 Americans. 1 in 8 Americans are receiving SNAP benefits. You know what it ends up being about? About $6 a day. Norm. That's what we're talking about. And that's what is at stake, though, for so many people. So I'd rather show some people too, if you don't mind, Norm. I'm going to put up right now something that people can see. This is actually from a official government website for the USDA. The USDA is the federal agency that is handling the SNAP benefits. And you see here, Norm, I mean, we can talk about Hatch Act, frankly, because that's something that's totally up your alley as well. But the USDA website here is blaming the Democrats for the SNAP benefits to not happen after October 31st. And what's disgusting is they're saying that Democrats are holding out for healthcare for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures. I mean, Norm, not only are those lies, but it's worrisome because these are lies on an official government website. The fact that they're allowed to even do this without any type of punishment is wild, Norm.
And that brings us to the legal fight, folks, because what you have to understand is the money for these SNAP benefits to help 40 million people around our country eat, including a lot of Trump voters, the money is there in the USDA and the United States Department of Agriculture. In Fight Club, we actually like to break down the acronyms. The money is there, and Congress has ordered Donald Trump to spend the money. So what's happening here is he's holding it back to punish people, to try to bring an end to the shutdown. As we know, Democrats and people of good faith are pushing back on the Trump plan because he's hurting American people. He won't provide health care. So he's like, if you don't suffer enough when I take away your health care, I'm going to now have 40 million people suffer more. It's a punitive program to give tax breaks to billionaires. But you can't, it's against the law. The money is there. Congress has ordered that the money be spent. So Katie, here on Legal Fight Club, Katie and I and our colleagues at Democracy Defenders Fund are part of over 200 cases dealing with wrongdoing like this. And we talk all day long about what we can do. And there's a very important piece of litigation that we are supporting. Katie, first tell the people about this fantastic case by our state attorneys general to deal with that illegal cash holdback, the illegal Trump MAGA starvation plan. What are they doing about the starvation plan, starving out Americans to try to take our health care away? It boggles the mind. And then I'll talk about what we're doing at Democracy Defenders Fund, you and I and our colleagues together, to support this important litigation.
Yeah, so we have to give a huge shout out as appropriately to the Democratic attorneys general of at least 22 states and 3 governors who have filed a federal lawsuit in the state of Massachusetts, basically forcing the hand of the Trump administration to access a contingency fund that holds about $5 billion. And let me be clear, Norm, we need about $8 billion to just do 1 month. But at this point, we'll take the $5 billion, and that's exactly what it's for. It is congressionally appropriated funds that have been designated for the purpose of actually hitting a shortfall and minimizing the impact on millions of Americans. These Democratic attorneys general and the 3 governors have filed this lawsuit saying, look, Trump administration, you're violating specific federal statutes and specific federal acts when you fail to use this money as it has already been earmarked, congressionally appropriated, and as certain things have been enacted. And so this is what happens. This is the rule of law in action, Norm. For those people that are naysayers or they want to poo-poo the idea that our judicial system is impotent, it's not. We are doing these things. We're seeing these types of lawsuits, and they're also going to be seeking a temporary injunction that's supposed to be filed today, basically ordering the Trump administration to turn the spigot back on and to not hold food hostage to millions of Americans.
And Katie, let's hear from Attorney General, you're my friend, we talk to him all the time, Rob Bonta of California. What is this lawsuit about? Let's play the sound, friends.
Trump and his administration are willing to put more than 41 million Americans at risk of hunger, at risk of food insecurity, at risk of malnutrition, if it gives them a new play in their twisted political game. They are playing politics while Americans go hungry.
Norm, it's
It's
politics over
so,
people. That's what they do.
it's,
Politics over
it's,
people.
but Katie, starving them out, it makes me want to fight peacefully, lawfully, and litigate. The AGs have brought this terrific case, and we have their six. You and I and our colleagues are investigating this wrongdoing. We're supporting the case. And we have told the United States government, you are breaking the law. You're going to be personally responsible for these legal violations. We've gone straight to the USDA and the Inspector General there. Katie, tell the folks about how we're supporting this litigation, because all of them support the litigation through their paid subscriptions to the Contrarian.
It's all for one for all here. What we've done is we have sent a letter, and not just any letter, but it has been sent directly to the head of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. You may have seen her. She's been doing the rounds on far right media like Fox News, trying to justify what's happening right now. That letter clearly shows that there's been repeated violations unlawfully by this administration when it comes to not only turning off the SNAP benefits, but also making sure that contingency fund isn't accessed. You know, Norm, I want to quickly footnote something here. A lot of people may not be aware because that big bullshit bill that got passed courtesy of the Republicans just a few months ago, that big bullshit bill, it did a lot of harm to Americans, some of which hasn't yet to be felt. But let me tell you something, $168 billion in SNAP benefits was slashed in that bill. So for Republicans to suddenly care about whether or not anything's going on with their SNAP benefits, well, it's a little too late, isn't it? That's why at DDF, we've put everyone on notice, including Brooke Rollins, that we're watching them, kind of like a watchdog, something that you know very well. So independent of what the Democratic attorneys generals are doing, we are also watching things carefully to make sure that we're also bringing litigation when necessary to be able to enforce the rights that belong to the American people.
Yeah, Katie, that's so important. And we're looking at all legal remedies. We often litigate at Democracy Defenders Fund in parallel. And the legal theory that we're developing on behalf of all of you, everybody watching, is one that says Congress has ordered that this money be spent. There's another piece of law known as the Anti-Impoundment Act. You are not allowed under the Constitution, if you're the USDA, if you're Brooke Rollins, not to spend the money. There's no option to it. It's not discretionary. It's not a choice. It's mandatory that these funds be spent because it's so important not to starve out the American people. So you can expect to hear much more on how we're gonna support and have the backs of the state AGs fighting for us all, and how we're gonna litigate these sets of issues. Katie, I thought it was so interesting because even I, with over 200 cases, and Katie and I talk all day long about that together with the rest of our wonderful dozens of colleagues at the Democracy Defenders Fund. I'm a pretty hopeful person, but I have to say, when this MAGA mass starvation plan was announced, it shook me up. I feel better. That's part of the reason we're taking this legal action on behalf of all of you to back up the AGs. We've filed this administrative complaint with the government. We're going to do more legal action, but it still doesn't feel like it's quite enough. So here's how I'm thinking about it, and then Katie will give us the last word. We need to remember that there are going to be terrible ups and downs, and Donald Trump is going to reap death and destruction. But he's not accomplishing the dictatorship that he's setting out to do. And when he overreaches, like with this with this withholding food aid, it just drives those abysmal poll numbers, 37%, even lower. It drives people out into the streets, like the 7 million who marched. It's going to be material on November 4th, Tuesday, Election Day. That's a referendum on Trump's policies. And then we have our litigation, and the press is waking up and talking about this SNAP issue. It's so important. So is our political leadership. So if you look across the landscape of our democracy, as devastating as it is, in every dimension, there's reasons for hope. So hang in there. We're fighting. We're going to get you the food aid you need. And I'm going to give the last word to my Fight Club partner, Katie Phang.
Well, Norm, here's the thing. And I agree, it's easy to kind of feel like we're constantly having to be at battle, but that's kind of what we were preparing for. That's what's happening at places like Democracy Defenders Fund. We knew that the lay of the land was not going to be easy, but for example, it's all connected, is it not? They're trying to kick us when we're down. We're in the midst of day 29 of a government shutdown. It's not just SNAP benefits, right? It's people's paychecks. And yet, for example, we're successfully litigating this idea of illegal firings of people during government shutdowns. You're not allowed to do that either. And we've actually gone to court on that and been successful. There are actual true silver linings in the darkness that we are seeing right now. And these are really important points that we want to underscore. It is the battle of the lifetime that we are finding ourselves in right now. But that's the reason why we're doing Legal Fight Club with all of you. We're making sure that you're completely informed, that you understand what's at stake, and you understand that there's actual action being taken versus just people that are complaining. We're actually doing something about the bad.
Thanks for being with us on Katie and Norm's Legal Fight Club. And we'll see you very soon, Contrarians.